Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be working on our interior walls of our first floor, second floor, and our basement. We'll start just like we did before with our basement drawing and then go to our first floor and second floor. On the document that I gave you, it talks about drawing interior walls. Interior walls are the ones that are, on the inside of your home, bedrooms, hallways, bathrooms, you name it. They're not as thick as your exterior walls. Most interior walls don't support the structure. A lot of construction now uses the exterior walls with roof trusses so you can have wide open spaces and you don't need to be supporting the roof structure with your interior walls. We'd use normally 2x4 construction on our interior walls. 2x4 wood stud is actually 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. It's a weird way that we make wood. We don't have everything be the nominal size, the name of it. In the manufacturing process, we true up the edges, making them nice and straight, and we shave off just a little bit. On those walls, these little rectangles here are the cross sections of those wood studs. If I go back over to this web page that I have pulled up, there would be these vertical studs that we have here. And then on the skinning of it, we would put this drywall on both sides of that interior wall. You might put insulation inside of an interior wall if it's near a bedroom, in between a bedroom and a bathroom. But normally, you would just have it open. Insulation does two things. It stops the heat coming in from a home or the heat escaping a home in the winter. And then it also deadens some of the sound. Once you put that drywall up, you would then tape and texture it, and after that, you would go ahead and paint it. But what we're going to be focusing on is how to draw them. Since a wood stud is 3.5 inches wide, and the gypsum board we're going to be using is 1/2 inch wide, if we add that up from the left to the right, we would have 1/2 plus 3.5 plus 1/2 again, and we would get a total of 4.5 inches for the thickness of each wall. We're going to have to remember that throughout the lesson today. Each of our interior walls is going to be 4.5 inches thick. If we scroll on down to the basement's interior wall picture, we're going to see that we're going to be adding 3 walls up in this area and then 1 wall down over here. The basement doesn't have too many interior walls. These really just depict where our stairwells are going to go. We're going to have some stairs that come down from our garage area down into the basement, and then some stairs over here that allow us to get from the basement to the first floor, and then even on the first floor we'll have some more in this area that go up to our second. There's 2 ways that we can draw it. I'm going to use offsets up here in this area, and then I'm just going to draw these lines down here. Pay close attention to both techniques. You're going to be using those on your own for your first floor and then later for your second floor. If you do have any questions, again, reach out to me. I'll be glad to answer them. All right, so let's go ahead and open up our basement floor plan. And hopefully you have your document open next to it. I'm not going to be referencing mine much, other than to emphasize some of the ticks. If you look closely at this first dimension we're going to be putting in, this 15, 10, and 1/2. Pay close attention to where the tick actually touches the wall. This tick, being the diagonal slash through our dimension, is intersecting our dimension line on the outside line. So the exterior wall, not the interior face. And then if we come all the way down here and we look at where this tick and the extension line touch, it's touching the lower of these 2 lines, being like the interior side of the stairwell. Meaning that I'm going to be offsetting this outside line down 15 feet, 10.5 inches to the lower side of this interior partition. So back in AutoCAD, I'm going to start the offset tool I'm going to grab that outside line, and when I'm bringing it down, I need to type in the distance of 15 feet, 10, and 1/2 inches. There's quite a few ways you could type that in. I typed in 15 apostrophe 10 dash 1/2, or 15 feet 10.5 inches. You might have noticed that my offset didn't work. When I typed in my 15 feet 10.5 inches, nothing really popped up. This happened to another student a little bit earlier when we were just trying to draw lines. The dynamic input didn't pop up. The quick fix for that is to come back up, click on your AutoCAD web folder, discard any of the changes that you have, and then reopen your file. Sometimes there's a little glitch. Sometimes you need to close your internet browser. Let's see if that goes ahead and fixes my issue. So again, back on the Modify tab, Offset Tool, there we go. If you don't see those numbers pop up as you are dragging down your line, just go ahead and click back on that AutoCAD web and then reopen up your floor. But let's type in that 15 feet 10.5 inches again. So 15 apostrophe 10 dash 1/2. And when I hit enter, it brings my interior side of that wall down. It's going to be really close to this end. If yours is touching it, something's wrong. They're not supposed to touch in this basement drawing. All right, now I know that this wall here is 4.5 inches thick. So I need to offset this line, enter, 4.5, it's a little bit easier. And I'm gonna offset this one up. I always forget that I need to select the line first. 4.5 up, and hit escape. Now, I wanna offset for my stair opening. My opening here is going to be 7 feet 1 inches clear. What the clear means is that I'm going to have clearance between these two walls of 7 feet 1 inch. So that means from the bottom edge of this top wall to the top edge of this bottom wall, I'm going to have a distance of 7 feet 1 inch. So I'm going to offset this bottom line, enter, select the bottom line, down 7 feet 1, or 7 apostrophe 1. Now since I have the clearance in there, I'm going to take this line and offset it below by 4.5 inches. So enter, select the line, 4.5, enter. All right, my vertical line, or vertical wall that I have in here, is 16 feet 2 inches to the left of this exterior line. It offsets from the right line here over to the left side. So I'm going to offset that wall over 16 feet 2 inches, and then I'm going to offset it back to the right by 4.5. So if I come back over here and hit enter, grab this wall, the exterior wall, and bring it over 16 feet 2, enter. It gives me the left side, and now I want to offset that same wall back 4.5. Now it doesn't look exactly as the book did here. I'm going to be using the fillet command in order to clean these edges up. If I start my fillet command, I know that this wall here is going to extend down to this one, and that this right side is going to be touching the top line on the right. And if I hit the space bar or enter, I can fillet this left side to the bottom edge on the right. On the interior side up here, I'm going to fillet the right line to the bottom, and then I'll fillet the left line to the top. Now over here, I simply just want to trim off these two little extensions that are sticking into my cinder block wall. I don't want to trim up this gap here. There are two different types of walls, or two different wall systems. The 8-inch gap is our cinder blocks, and the 4.5-inch gap is our stud walls or our interior partitions. Because they're two different wall systems, we denote that by having this continuous line, as opposed to where this interior wall here intersected in between our garage and our mudroom. We did trim it up because it's the same type of wall. Since these are different, we keep that line there. All right, the last thing for this little stairwell is that I want this bottom line here to be 8 feet 9 inches long total. So I can simply take this left edge and I can offset it over to the right by 8 feet 9 inches, and then just trim these lines up. So I can get rid of that edge, maybe this inside and there, and we can get that C-shaped wall for our stairwell to go inside. All right, for the next stairwell that we have over here on, I guess the garage side, I'm going to use a different technique to draw those lines. Instead of using the offset down 3 feet 5.5 inches, down another 4.5, offsetting over 13 feet 6 inches, and trimming up, we can use that extension tool when we draw. Using the extension on just drawing a line is sometimes easier. If I draw a line and I hover over this endpoint and mouse down, I get those green dots. Since I know that the top of my wall is going to be starting 3 feet 5.5 inches, I'm just going to type in, if you look at my command line, 3'5.5. When I hit enter, what it does is it starts my line down 3 feet 5.5 inches from that endpoint. I'm going to come over the length of that wall of 13 feet 6. That's how long the wall is. I'm going to come down with my cursor and type in the thickness of the wall of 4.5. And then I'm just going to come back to where I hit this interior partition already and hit escape. I think drawing that way is a little bit quicker on this particular wall. For the others, I definitely would use offset every time I draw those. Hopefully this helps. Go ahead and draw your basement. Don't forget to save. And then we'll move on to our first floor.